Hello there, we're here on the Protect server, and today I would like to take on another type of rare item that will be discontinued soon. So as you guys probably know, I like to collect different types of rare items that are acquired in vanilla, and I got a whole chest full of them right here. And one of the items that actually become discontinued pretty soon is the slowness arrows. So right here are some slowness arrows that came from strays, and this only happens in 1.10, but these slowness arrows that come from strays are different than the slowness arrows which you craft up. So the ones that you craft up are just use a lingering potion of slowness and some arrows around them, and you get some slowness arrows, and they look exactly the same. If stick them side by side, you can't tell the difference. But as I have shown in previous videos, they had different NPT tags, so they do not stack, and you can't stack them because they're different. Now these arrows that come from strays will change in 1.11. They all convert over to this type of arrow over here. So right now we will want to try to build up a slowness arrow farm and try to acquire this type of arrow before it becomes a discontinued item and no longer acquirable in Minecraft. So I'm going to go and grab some materials in our storage system here, and we'll head out and see if we can find a skeleton spawner out in the cold biome. So I've grabbed all the materials which I need to build the slowness arrow farm. I have some materials in my ender chest as well. Now the place I want to head off to, I think, will be the place, the ice spikes biome that we actually use to collect our packed ice. And in the area, we have already loaded the area, of course, and there is a skeleton spawner out there. So I might be able to use that skeleton spawner to build the slowness arrow farm. It's a little ways out, but it's the closest ice biome that we have, and it's right off in the west direction. So I think I'll just fly up and use my elytras to fly over top of the bedrock and head off in that direction right now. So I'm out in the location where the spawner is, and there's kind of a neat generation here. Here we got some water that was generated, and it generated as a frozen lake, and then we also got lava here generated. You see here we got two snow layers. One just melted, but they're stacked on top of each other there. And then over here you can see how we got ice right beside water, and it's gonna eventually melt. We got some snow layers which will melt as well. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting generation. We got some rabbits spawning here in the biome. And the spawner is just over here. I'll set up a portal so that if anybody wants to come out and get some more packed ice, they can. And I think the spawner is just underneath here. It's kind of an interesting generation. We'll come down and look at it. I got the nether portal moved. I had to move it over there. I couldn't get it any closer to where the spawner is, which is over there, just because I would have to break a new hole on the bedrock ceiling in the nether, and that's as close as I could get it. I could also put another portal here, but it would only be a one-way nether portal. It'd take me to the nether ceiling, but I wouldn't be able to get back through it. I would end up at that one. So the spawner is just over here. It's a little ways down. It's about maybe 20 blocks or so down right here. We'll go take a look at it. It generated in a kind of interesting way, which I don't think you would ever be able to actually find this spawner in typical gameplay. I actually found this spawner while looking through the world download that we have. But yeah, the spawner actually generated with the opening into a water lake. So just want to make sure there's no creepers in here so they don't blow up the spawner, and those guys can fight it out. But you can see that this generated actually a big water lake generated down here underneath the water, and then we have the skeletons here that actually generated their spawner actually generated because it's open to this part down here. I removed all the blocks above the dungeon down there. This way we can get sky access going down all the way down to where the spawner is at. Now this is because we're trying to have strays spawn out of that skeleton spawner there, and in 1.10, the version that we were in, it's possible to have the different variations of mobs spawn from the spawner. So that spawner, which is a skeleton spawner, can actually spawn strays if the environment's correct, which has to be an icy biome. We're currently in ice plains, so that works. And it also has to have sky access, and of course it has to be dark, so we have to wait to night for actual mobs to spawn, or strays. Now this only works in 1.10. In 1.11 they change it so that the spawners will only spawn the type of mob that they show. So a skeleton spawner will only spawn skeletons. It won't spawn the variations such as strays. So you cannot get this to work in 1.11 or above, and this means also like zombie spawners won't be able to spawn husk if they were in a desert, and the same thing with sky access. So that's why we're doing here in 1.10. Now you also see that I put down some wood around the spawner. This way I wouldn't actually mine it out with my pick when I'm trying to mine out the rest of the area. And I also put down a beacon down here which has the haste 2 effect. So that way I can mine out the area a lot quicker. Now I will want to mine out a pretty good sized area because not only do I have to remove blocks above it, I also have to remove blocks underneath of it so that I can have the mobs drop down and then we'll elevate them again. So I'll clean out the rest of this and we'll make some more progress. I made some good progress. You can see I put in the walls. I also put in the floor, which will sweep all the mobs with the water towards the center. And then I have a system in the center, which will also pull the mobs off to the side. I put in this glass ceiling, and this is where we will be able to darken the top of this by placing water so that it's dark. So that during the daytime, we can actually have normal skeletons spawn so that the farm can be used during the day as well as night. Now, I also put in the water elevator, which will pull the skeletons up. So the skeletons will come up here, and then I just have to put in the drop shaft on this side. So yeah, I'll work on that and I'll see if I can finish this. So this is a system that we will use to actually get the spawner to be able to spawn skeletons during the daytime as well as night. So during night we have the sky axis for the strays, and that spawner will spawn in the strays. And then during daytime, the daylight sensor back here will depower, allowing this piston to retract, and the water will spread across this glass, and this will allow it so that the water itself will diffuse the light level from the sky during the daytime, and then down by the spawner it would be completely dark by the time the sky reaches all the way down there. And then this way we can spawn in normal skeletons, and that way we can use the farm during the day as well as night. Now I also came in here and put in the second half of the drop chute here. So skeletons come up on that side, and then they drop down this side. We do align the skeletons so that they're all pressed up against this side here. That's why we have trapdoor here. And then this way, when the skeletons fall down, they're all stacked on top of each other, and they won't like try to push each other. Their collision boxes, since they're all on top of each other, they won't try to push each other with their collision boxes. Down here, I got a ladder, which allowed me to access the bottom part. This is where the player would be able to AFK. I put in most of the redstone down here, and then the skeletons end up here. And then the player would be able to throw something at the skeletons here, and then when he throws it to them, it will allow you to get slowness arrows. Haven't quite get the entire thing put in. I got most of the wiring put in over here. I got a little access door, just some clocks which will detect if there is a skeleton in the system. If there's a skeleton in the system, then it will start activating this clock, which will allow the player to be dropped, either eggs or snowballs from this dropper here, and it also allow this trapdoors to move back and forth. So I will probably put in a system. I'll probably not use eggs like my design I shown prior, but I'll probably use snowballs, and then have the player just collect some snowballs and then shoot some snowballs at the skeletons over here. I finished the slowness arrow farm off. It works really nice. I've been getting a bunch of slowness arrows. What I did first was actually come in here and put in the snow farm up above. So the main spot where AFK is right there, and then right above here I put in a snow farm, and I have a snow golem. He's pushed in up here, and he is sitting on top of the soul sand, so he's low enough to put his snow layer down there. And then I close the entire area off so no snowballs can get out, and then I just have a shovel, and I just mine some of the snow here, and then I just got some hopper mine carts that's putting down to a bunch of chests down there. I filled the chest up, and then I got more storage for shovels up here and iron. And then once the snow goes down, there's a bunch of it, and then it comes into the system down here, which will supply the player with more snowballs. So I got a bunch of chests here full of snowballs, and this all comes down, and there is droppers here which will drop them off. Down underneath here I have it so that this is where the snowballs will come into the droppers, and then I also have a recycling system on the other side. So in case the player doesn't use the snowballs, then they will be recycled again. So the snowballs get shot out here, and then the player will be sitting AFK right here, and you'd be facing this direction. And then if he needs to resupply any, then they'll just stack with the ones that he already has in the offhand. Otherwise, then they'll just go down to these hoppers, and it will put them back into this dropper. Now, depending on which way the droppers or these hoppers are facing, the dropper will accept items from this hopper before it will accept items from the other hopper. So this way I can make sure that these hoppers will empty out before any more new snowballs come in from the hoppers from the other side. And pretty much the way it works is the player will sit here with a looting 3. I got a looting 3 off of a zombie pigman, and I just put some rails here so that zombie pigman wouldn't try to come over here and interrupt me. If I accidentally shot a snowball at him, then he would attack me while I was AFKing. So I come in here, kind of line myself up against this fence. I changed some other stuff about this. Put the guys on top of a cobble wall here, and I also put some trapdoors in there to align them. But the player will be sitting here like this, and then I have a on and off switch here, and then the player would be able to click on to this door here, and then he also shoots a snowball when the door moves. And then this way you can have the player shoot the snowball and hit the mobs in the back. Just like my previous slowness arrow farm that I showed, I made some modifications to this, but you still have to try to find the right rhythm and where the snowball will actually go through and hit the guys in the back. And I was able to do that overnight, and I'll just set that off. And then the arrows are collected over here. I just have a bunch of chests which are full of the loots. You see you get tons of bones as well as arrows because you're holding the looting 3 sword in your main hand. This allows you to get the looting effect. And I also get slowness arrows. Let's see, there's some slowness arrows here, some slowness arrows here. Now it only works for strays for half of the day, so I actually get quite a few normal skeletons. That's why there's a lot of normal skeleton loots compared to slowness arrows. And at most you can only get 1 slowness arrow per skeleton, so it's pretty slow. But over time you can collect them. There's some slowness arrows there. You also get the armor and stuff from the looting effects. Let me show you a little bit back of the contraption here. Back in here, if I just get inside there. There they all are. I have some trapdoors on either side to align them. So they come in aligned and then they all stack on top of each other. And they're completely stacked directly on top of each other. And this way they're not able to actually push each other around. So they won't try to push each other off of this area which they're sitting because they're all stacked on each other. So the collision boxes won't affect each other. And then when they do get hit by a by your snowball, then they'll get launched back and they'll land on top of this magma block here. Even though there's a trapdoor on top of it, they still get the effects of the magma block and it will kill them. But since you hit them with the snowball, then they died, it will count as a player kill. And then you will be able to get the slowness arrow. So that's the way it works for there. And then pretty much all there is to it. And then I also was able to have these trapdoors back here, so that if the player is clicking and there's no mobs there, he won't accidentally shoot a snowball back there and just waste snowballs. So here you can see I got it started. The guy's just facing this direction. He's spamming on these trapdoors here, which are going back and forth. When the trapdoors or these gates get slid over, there's a chance for the player to actually shoot a snowball in between them. And if there is a mob in his way, then he'll be able to shoot the snowball. If there's no mob there, then he'll just be able to click on that iron trapdoor in the background. And this way you don't waste snowballs. But when the mob gets hit by the snowballs, they get pushed backwards onto that magma block and die. And that's pretty much how it works. The player can AFK here, and you can use the looting effect from the sword, as well as using the snowballs to actually kill the mob. This way you don't actually need to use any auto clickers or anything. You can still get the looting effect. Also, when you hit the mobs with snowballs, since they're counted as your kill, you also get the experience off of the skeletons. So it does make like a AFK experience farm as well. So I grabbed some slowness arrows from the farm, and I'll take these back to add to my collection. But you can see the farm is working in the daytime with the water coming down and spraying over top of here. That way the spawner can actually spawn in skeletons down there because it's dark enough. And I also did the alignment a little bit differently. I added in 2 trapdoors, so the trapdoor on this side as well as the trapdoor on this side. And the skeleton might sit on top of the trapdoor, but then the next skeleton will come along and push them off. That way I get the skeletons to all be directly on top of each other, so their collision boxes aren't affecting anything. So I'm just going to head back and put these slowness arrows with the other rare items that I collected so far. So I'll see you there. So I was just headed back to spawn, and I had my slowness arrows here in my hotbar. So then when I was trying to do my elytra punch trick, I was actually shooting out slowness arrows, and you can see that when I shoot out the type that comes from the stray, and once they get shot on the ground, they become the type that comes from the crafting. So that just shows you how the NBT tags change. This is the ones you get from strays, and this is the ones that you can craft, and now they're no longer stacked. So I'm going to go back and grab some more of them, and then I'll head back to the spawn point. I'm back here at our quad witch perimeter, and I'm just going to come in and finish off my collection by putting my slowness arrows that come from strays into my collection here. So now I got these with all the rest of my items. Now once we upgrade to 1.11, we'll have another type of rare that will no longer be able to be acquired. So yeah, I think that's going to be it for today. So thanks for joining me as I have fun in survival. Bye bye!